a second stringer again.
Washington's going to get cave and pay him. They have to. Otherwise, he's going to go to a team like
If I was him, I would go to Denver or I would go to Jacksonville. Those are teams that need a quarterback, and they are pretty much an instant contender.
Or hear me out.
Watch Eli go to Jacksonville, and then the Giants go and snipe out.
Eli's not going to go anywhere.
Hear this. I know that you disagree with this. Why doesn't Indianapolis go to him and say, we want you?
Because that's just silly.
They have Brisket.
They don't want Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
No.
But, I mean, I guess that's assuming Luck is,
They are now
injured.
saying that Luck could be injured until middle of next season.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
That's what
I
they're
heard.
saying.
Yeah, I heard the remainder of the season, but
I heard.
And even if that was the case, I would go out of my way and try and get Sam Bradford to come in during the time being if Teddy Bridgewater comes back.
If that's the case too, like what's going on
what's
that they're not saying?
Cap
They're not telling
too,
us.
because Kirk is going to get paid, and he's going to get overpaid because he is not elite, but he's going to get paid like he is. A franchise is going to cripple themselves like the Ravens did with Flacco, and I hope personally it's not the Jets. I don't want that.
He said
the Jets would make.
He said he's not about the money. He wants the job security. He doesn't need to be the highest paid player. He needs a 5-year contract.
Is that what the holdup is?
If I was him,
they don't want to give him a contract.
I would be keyed in on Denver and Jacksonville because those teams with a quarterback like him could instantly become contenders. They have everything else.
Just look at what happened with Houston. They get a quarterback and boom.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're
right
a playoff
back in
team.
it.
Could you imagine if he's like, no, I want to go to Cleveland.
Said no one ever.
Said no one ever.
There might be someone in Cleveland that's liked more than LeBron right now.
Do you guys watch Dave Letterman at all?
If I catch it.
He did a thing many years ago with Matthew Stafford. 10 things you'll never hear in the state of Michigan. And the number one was, congratulations, rookie. Oh, I'm excited to play for the Lions.
And that's why Barry left. That's why Barry Sanders left.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
That's why Megatron left.
Yeah.
Did we see that Gordon's reinstated?
Yeah, kind of.
Well,
practices and meetings.
November 27th is when he can start.
Yeah, but he's still going to have to serve his suspension.
Effective immediately. He can attend practice and meeting.
Who is this?
Did they say what's his
Gordon.
suspension though? I thought
It's going to be 6 games.
It's going to be 6 games. Those
Yeah.
bastards.
It's like they haven't kept him out long
enough.
I
know. You beat your wife? Here's like a 2-game suspension. Oh, you smoked some weed? You're banned for life.
Yeah, you might get back in. If you do, you're still going to have to say, oh, come on.
Did you also hear the story that the judge that levied the reinstated the suspension on Ezekiel Elliott
had no idea what the case was about?
Well, no. Her husband works for a law firm that worked on the CBA agreement that landed Ezekiel Elliott in this situation.
It's just so ridiculous.
That's a conflict.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah. Seeing as New York pushed the case in front of her.
I'd want to see a source
because the NFL's
I did hear that.
That's collusion.
I didn't know
he should. If that's the case, he should join Colin Kaepernick in his collusion case.
That's really.
Speaking of which, his agent
really
thinks he's going to have a job in 10 days somewhere.
Wait, who does?
Yeah, apparently the agent of
I don't see
Colin Kaepernick thinks that he's going to be.
I got him.
He's going to have a job in 10 days.
I got him a good gig.
Cleveland's looking.
I got him a good
and the
gig.
Broncos should be too.
I got Mr. Kaepernick a good gig. All he needs to say is, "Would you like fries with that?"
Yeah.
No, don't be surprised if he does show up in Cleveland.
Yeah.
But going back to the Andrew Luck thing, I don't remember who it was.
You really dislike Luck.
I don't dislike Luck.
You just don't trust his health.
I don't trust his health. The contract is absolutely ridiculous, and he's not that great.
Don't you feel like
he's not like a life-changing quarterback?
Don't you feel like
I thought
injury?
he was when he was healthy. He was
a franchise quarterback when he's healthy. I would definitely
he was excellent when he was healthy, but that's obviously a big asterisk when he was healthy. So
the reason they're saying it could be until the middle of next season is whatever he had done, he was healing. The healing stopped, so he's regressed. So he's got to start all over again. He hasn't practiced in 3 weeks. which is bad.
Yeah.
Not only that, he's not able to stay in football shape. So he has to fully heal, get back into football shape,
look at
and
Eli.
then get...
Is it that hard to be a quarterback in football shape?
Yes. Eli has played every game.
Yeah,
he stays in shape.
He is the Iron Man currently. Iron
When's the last time Andrew Luck has played a game?
Oh, it's been
like
a while.
Toward the end of last season.
But I don't think once he's
and
healthy,
even then he was
it'll be
injured.
that
He didn't
hard.
tell anybody he had broken ribs.
I don't think it'll be that hard for him to get back into football shape. He's not, he doesn't have to run a 4.2 40. He doesn't have to be prepared to run through defensive linemen.
No, you just got to be prepared to not get killed by the Jags or Jadeveon Clowney.
It's true. He needs to be ready to take a hit, which is again health related. I don't think once he's healthy, I don't think it would be that long for him to get.
Again, back to the question I've been asking. I've been asking for a long time. I want to hear your guys' thought. Who do we see first? Andrew Luck, Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater. It's we've been saying this.
Yeah, I know. I've heard
He's coming back.
Bridgewater's practicing.
He's practicing. He's gonna be back soon.
I mean, he's on pace to come back
gets
before
to the
Luck.
playoffs, then definitely. Andrew Luck's done for the season. Bridgewater, we will see if Minnesota gets to the playoffs. Definitely.
It's their bye week this week. I heard he could come back as early as next week or the week after.
I feel like they're still going to be cautious, but I mean, yeah.
No, it doesn't make
because they look good.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to put Teddy Bridgewater in. Case Keenum's been fine. Case Keenum.
Browns.
You get towards the end of the season, especially in the playoff hunt, you want to put your best foot forward. And Teddy Bridgewater was showing a spark, before he got injured.
Yeah,
he
now he's a capable
cyborg,
leader. So
and so I feel you got to put your best foot forward. You got to put him in if he can do it. You don't want to risk him and put him in too early. If he's 100%, the doctors say he's good, and you believe he's good, you do it.
I don't think he should play till next year.
They got to get Bradford back then because you're not going to do anything great with Keenum.
Yeah, I would
might get into the wild card game, but you're probably going to lose it.
I agree with you in keeping him out until next year.
I think you keep him out until next year. Same thing with Andrew Luck. He hasn't played in over a year. All right, he hasn't even been able to really do anything. It was his leg. He hasn't been able to run until just recently.
Well,
he's not
running. Now it's been I think almost 2 months that he's been running, and he's been practicing for a couple weeks now.
He needs to get back into the football shape.
He's on the pup list.
He needs to He needs to get back
no longer on IR, so they have to make that decision. I think next week.
I personally, if I'm the Vikings, I say not this year. Keep him out. Let him get back into football shape, strengthen his leg a little bit more, and then let him use the preseason to get back into football speed. And then you make the decision, do we go with Sam Bradford or do we go with Teddy Bridgewater? And I think we can all agree Teddy Bridgewater is the answer.
Mm-hmm. He's the answer, and I say you got to go all in the NFL nowadays. You have to be able to, in the NFC, you're going to have to eventually beat the Eagles to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think
you're talking this season.
You're going to get to the Super Bowl with Sam Bradford?
They're in the hunt.
What about a Teddy Bridgewater that hasn't played in almost 2 seasons, and he probably will only be at 85%?
Right.
If he's out playing the other guys in practice, and you're in the hunt, then I think you gotta do
Let's
it.
We see how many injuries.
We're talking about practice, not the game I love. Practice.
Put it this way. Right now we're at the halfway point, okay? Let's assume Bridgewater is now practicing and is doing his progressions. If you get to a point where Teddy Bridgewater has practiced for the remaining 8 weeks of the year, and now you're in a playoff situation, I'm sorry. I don't want to go into a playoff game with Sam Bradford or Case Keenum.
Thank you. Yeah.
Listen,
Thank you.
Sam Bradford.
You don't want
Maybe that's the new line. I think maybe he might be the new marker instead of the Dalton line.
You ride the wave that gets you there. If Sam Bradford or Case Keenum take you to the playoffs, you owe it to Sam Bradford, Case Keenum to let them show you that they can do it.
Not unless you can combine them into one slightly above average player.
Yeah, think about this Teddy Bridgewater situation as like the Steven Strasburg situation that Washington had, where they They limited his pitches. They kept him out the rest of the season, even when he was healthy, just to make sure that at 100% he's going to be healthy, and he's going into it knowing that there is no chance that this injury is going to reoccur because of the healing process.
It's like the Dak Prescott Tony Romo thing. Tony Romo's sitting there healthy, ready to go. But you're going to use Dak Prescott until he shows he can't do it.
That's a good point, too.
Let Case Keenum and Sam Bradford show you that they can't do it. Give them a quarter of the first game, of the playoff game. Give them a quarter. If they lose the quarter, take them out. If they don't lose the quarter, keep them in another quarter. If they don't lose that quarter, keep them in another quarter until they show you they can't do it. Why take the people who did it for you out of the game for a person who hasn't played in 2 years? That makes zero sense.
There's people on that field that he hasn't even thrown before. Talent's
not enough. We'll take this out of here. If they're out of football realm, there's a fight going on. Who do you take? Vitaly Klitschko, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson hasn't boxed in forever. Klitschko is still actively fighting for titles.
Actually,
who do you take?
Vitaly Klitschko just retired this year.
Okay, he just retired this year.
Yeah, but Tyson's been retired
not to
years.
be a
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
That's for way longer than Bridgewater's been
Bridgewater almost lost his leg.
That's with
he almost died. Bridgewater almost died.
Lower leg injury because of the way your the way your arteries work. You have one pipeline to your lower leg. So it gets pinched when you have that kind of knee injury, which we saw with
Zach Miller.
Yeah, Miller. It doesn't mean he can never play again.
I didn't say that.
Per Rappaport, the Vikings still consider Bridgewater their franchise quarterback and would not hesitate to start him over Case Keenum, who has struggled, obviously, in recent weeks.
Obviously.
And Bradford is still out indefinitely with his knee injury. So they're saying he could start as soon as week 10. That's next week.
Well, if that's what happens, but don't save him for the playoffs.
Yeah, and you can get him in before the playoffs. You figure out.
Yeah, I think you try and.
But I'm not going to rush to put him out there.
If you have some blowout games one way or the other, throw him in for some game situations.
Absolutely. But I'm not rushing to throw him to the Wolves.
Right.
The last thing I want is for him to drop back, get sacked, and then all the work that was done by the medical staff implodes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because then there goes your franchise quarterback. You might as well flush a toilet, trade the Browns something garbage, and get a new one.
I do just want to make one argument the other way. I mean, it's on the Vikings for choosing a Louisville quarterback to be their franchise quarterback.
I'd also consider game
Someone's
conditions.
Gonna do it with Lamar Jackson.
I know! Idiots!
I would also consider game conditions on whether I start him or not, because
I
if
would
it's
preferably
muddy,
want him to start
if it's
at home.
muddy, I'm not putting him in.
At
I called
home
that
in
with
the dome?
RG3's final game, basically ever, where Shanahan threw him in when it was a muddy, disgusting game, and it seemed like they were rushing him back from his injury for last-minute playoff push. You don't want to throw in someone fresh off a knee injury into a muddy game. You want to give them a stable turf or field.
The other thing that we've got to remember is when Teddy Bridgewater did play, he wasn't that good. He was extreme potential.
Yes.
Yeah,
he was the top AAA prospect.
This is what makes
he
it...
wasn't the player yet.
Right, but that is what makes it intriguing. Is we didn't get to see what Teddy Bridgewater really
and
is.
he started showing flashes.
His accuracy was pretty impressive.
And then the anticipation right up until that injury.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He's like James Caprillion, like one of the top prospects. He's really close, but he wasn't quite.
Preseason injury, wasn't it? Preseason.
Yeah, it was preseason.
This year, right?
No, last year.
Last year? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's been a full.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's what I thought. Sorry.
Full season and a half. He hasn't played.
Yeah.
Anyways, I have one last question about college football. Is there anyone in this top 25 or any issues with the top 25 that we haven't discussed already? Anyone you think should be in? Anyone you think should be ranked higher? Anyone you think should be out? Like Miami. Miami is at number 10. I think for an undefeated team, they probably deserve to be a little bit higher. But screw Miami. Who have they beaten?
They haven't shown that they have the talent to even get up in
They-
the top 5.
They barely beat a team that Boston College just smoked.
I have a problem with all the. Look at how littered this is towards the back end, like from 15 down. Look at all these teams that they just.
Washington State's better than 25.
I know, but they just placed like big or SEC